The sun burned bright in the sky, pouring golden light across the meadows. Wildflowers swayed in the warm breeze, bees hummed, and the world seemed drenched in joy. In this paradise lived two unlikely neighbors. The first was an ant, tiny, disciplined, and endlessly busy. From morning to evening, he carried grains of wheat, seeds, and tiny crumbs back to his burrow. His body was small, but his vision was large. Every step was driven by one thought: winter will come, and I must be ready. Not far away lived a grasshopper, tall, green, and full of energy. He leapt from leaf to leaf, singing songs and strumming a blade of grass like it was his violin. His laughter echoed across the meadow. "Brother Ant!" the grasshopper called one afternoon, watching the ant drag a heavy crumb twice his size. "Why do you waste the sunshine? Come sing with me! Life is for joy, not for slavery." The ant paused, panting, then said calmly, "Grasshopper, the sun will not always shine. The winds will not always be gentle. The rains will come, and food will be scarce. I must prepare." The grasshopper laughed, tossing the blade of grass like a fiddle bow. "Prepare for tomorrow? But tomorrow has not come yet. The sky is clear, the world is abundant, and life is sweet. Why burden yourself with worry?" The ant said nothing more. He simply bent his head, lifted the crumb, and marched toward his home. The grasshopper shook his head, chuckling. "Poor fellow, he does not know how to live." And so while the ant worked, the grasshopper sang. Days rolled into weeks, weeks into months. The meadow glowed with sunlight, streams sparkled, and fruit hung heavy on trees. The ant built his underground chambers carefully. Each chamber was filled with grains, dried leaves, and seeds. He counted his stores, arranged them neatly, and built walls strong enough to withstand rain. Sometimes his tiny legs trembled with exhaustion. Sometimes he longed to lie down under the cool shade and sleep. But he pushed himself on. Meanwhile, the grasshopper grew famous across the meadow. Birds stopped to listen to his songs. Butterflies fluttered around him as he danced. The bees envied his freedom, and even the crickets clapped at his tunes. See how joyful life can be when you live in the moment. The grasshopper boasted one evening as the ant carried another grain to his burrow. "I sing, I dance, I am free. You, ant, are a prisoner of your own worries." The ant simply replied, "We will see, my friend. We will see." By the end of summer, the days grew shorter. The air became cooler. Leaves turned golden, and the meadow, once bursting with life, began to quiet down. The ant noticed these changes immediately. His pace quickened, his work doubled. He knew what was coming. The grasshopper, however, ignored the signs. "Just a passing breeze," he said, laughing. "Winter is far away. Come, ant, you've worked enough. Rest and sing with me." But the wind carried a chill that whispered of storms. One evening, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The sky rumbled. The grasshopper felt a drop of cold rain on his wing, and for the first time, a flicker of unease passed through him. "Perhaps the ant worries too much," he muttered. But then he shook off the thought. No, life must be enjoyed. By the end of summer, the days grew shorter. The air became cooler. Leaves turned golden, and the meadow, once bursting with life, began to quiet down. The ant noticed these changes immediately. His pace quickened, his work doubled. He knew what was coming. The grasshopper, however, ignored the signs. "Just a passing breeze," he said, laughing. "Winter is far away. Come, ant, you've worked enough. Rest and sing with me." But the wind carried a chill that whispered of storms. One evening, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The sky rumbled. The grasshopper felt a drop of cold rain on his wing, and for the first time, a flicker of unease passed through him. "Perhaps the ant worries too much," he muttered. But then he shook off the thought. No, life must be enjoyed. The storm lasted days. The meadow flooded, seeds washed away, and insects scattered. The grasshopper grew weaker. His songs became sighs. He searched for food but found little. His belly ached, his wings were heavy, and despair shadowed his once carefree eyes. "How foolish I was," he cried. "I thought life was only for pleasure. I laughed at the ant, but now I starve." Driven by desperation, he hopped toward the ant's burrow. Inside, the ant was sitting by his storeroom, calmly eating a seed. His chambers glowed with warmth and safety. The grasshopper knocked weakly at the entrance. "Brother Ant, please help me. I'm cold, hungry, and dying." The ant looked at the grasshopper with pity. "All summer I worked while you sang. All day I labored while you played. And now, when the storm has come, you are empty-handed." The grasshopper lowered his head in shame. "Yes, I was foolish. I mocked you. I wasted my days, and now I pay the price. Please, Brother Ant, do not let me die." The ant thought for a long time. Then he said, "I will share my food with you, Grasshopper. Not because you deserve it, but because mercy is greater than anger. But remember this, life is not just for singing. It is for preparing, building, and ensuring tomorrow's safety." Tears filled the grasshopper's eyes. "I understand now. I thought freedom meant carelessness. But true freedom is when you are secure, not when you are enslaved by hunger." The ant gave him a little food, enough to survive. The winter was long, but the grasshopper survived with the ant's help. He never forgot the lesson. When spring returned, the meadow bloomed again. The grasshopper no longer wasted his days only in song. He worked alongside the ant, carrying grains, building shelters, and preparing for the future. And in the evenings, when the work was done, he sang, not out of carelessness, but out of gratitude. The ant smiled. "Now, Brother Grasshopper, you truly know how to live. Hard work is the seed. Security is the fruit. Laziness may taste sweet today, but it turns bitter when storms arrive. Prepare in silence so that tomorrow you may live in peace."